Imagine a goal gets scored. The crowd explodes. Players are sprinting toward each other, arms out, pure chaos. And then, nothing. The referee raises a flag, a whistle blows, and the goal gets wiped off the board like it never happened. The crowd groans. The commentator says, "Offside." And if you're an American watching soccer for the first time, you're sitting there thinking, what just happened? You're not alone. Offside is the single most confusing call in soccer for American sports fans. And with the 2026 World Cup coming to the United States, you're going to see this call a lot. So in this video, we're going to fix that, for good. By the end, you'll understand exactly what offside is, why it exists, how the technology works, and you'll never be lost on that call again. Here's the one-sentence version of the rule. A player is offside if they're closer to the opponent's goal than both the ball and the second-to-last defender at the exact moment a teammate passes the ball to them. That's it. That's the whole rule. But the reason people get confused is because there's a massive detail hiding inside that sentence that almost nobody talks about, and it changes everything. We'll get to that in a second, but first, let's make sure the basic picture is clear. Picture a soccer field. One team is attacking, trying to score. The other team is defending. Now imagine one of the attackers sneaks behind all the defenders and just stands right in front of the goalkeeper, waiting for a long pass. The ball gets kicked to them, they tap it in. Goal. Easy. Except that's illegal. That's offside. The rule essentially says you can't position yourself behind the defense and wait for the ball to come to you. You have to be level with or behind the last outfield defender when your teammate plays the ball. If you're ahead of them, closer to the goal, you're in an offside position. And here's the part most people miss. This is where it gets interesting. Being in an offside position is not automatically a foul. This is the thing that trips everyone up. The rule actually makes a distinction between being in an offside position and committing an offside offense. You can literally be standing in an offside position, and it doesn't matter, as long as you don't get involved in the play. The referee is only supposed to call it if, at the moment your teammate plays the ball, you're in that illegal position and you're actively involved. That means you're the one receiving the pass, or you're interfering with the defender's ability to play, or you're somehow gaining an advantage from being there. So a player can be standing offside, a teammate can shoot on goal, the keeper saves it, and another player who is onside taps in the rebound. Totally legal. No offense. Because the player who was in the offside position never touched the ball and never interfered with anyone. The rule is judged at the exact instant the ball leaves your teammate's foot, not when you receive it, not when you start running, the moment the ball is played. If you're onside at that split second, it doesn't matter how far ahead of the defense you are when you actually get the ball. And there's one more detail that matters here. Level is onside. If your shoulder is exactly in line with the last defender, you're fine. The benefit of the doubt goes to the attacker. You have to be clearly ahead to be flagged. But wait, there are exceptions to all of this, and they're actually pretty simple. You cannot be offside in your own half of the field. If you're behind the halfway line, the rule doesn't apply to you at all. You also can't be offside directly from a throw-in, a corner kick, or a goal kick. So if a player takes a corner and whips the ball into the box, it doesn't matter where anyone is standing. No offside can be called on that play. These exceptions exist because in those situations, the ball is coming from a dead stop, and the attacking team already has a positional disadvantage. The rule doesn't need to apply. Now here's where it starts clicking for American sports fans, because you've actually seen a version of this rule before. If you've ever watched ice hockey, you know the blue line rule. In hockey, you can't cross into the offensive zone ahead of the puck. If you skate across that blue line before the puck does, the play gets blown dead. That's offside. Same basic idea. You can't get ahead of the play and camp out near the goal waiting for the puck to come to you. Soccer's offside rule is doing the exact same thing, just without a physical line on the field. Instead of the blue line, the line is wherever the last defender is standing, and it moves constantly as the game flows. And if you've ever played pickup basketball or any playground sport, you know the concept of cherry picking. That's when one player just stays near the opponent's basket the whole game, waiting for a long pass so they can score an easy layup without doing any defensive work. Every gym has that one guy, cherry picking. It's annoying, it's lazy, and it breaks the game. Soccer's offside rule exists specifically to prevent the soccer version of cherry picking. So why does the rule exist in the first place? What would soccer actually look like without it? Think about it. If there were no offside rule, every team would just park their fastest player right in front of the goalkeeper all game. Every possession would end with a long ball over the top, a sprint, and a shot. There'd be no build-up play, no tactics, no midfield battles. The game would turn into something closer to a foot race than a sport. Offside is what forces teams to actually work for their goals, to build attacks through passing and movement, to break down a defense rather than just bypass it. It's the rule that makes soccer, soccer. Now here's where things get genuinely wild. Because in the modern game, this rule is enforced with technology that is almost absurdly precise. And it's caused some of the most controversial moments in recent soccer history. You've probably seen the replays. A goal gets scored, VAR reviews it, and then this graphic appears on screen showing two teams of dotted lines. One for the attacker, one for the defender. And the attacker's armpit or kneecap or big toe is literally a centimeter ahead of the last defender. Goal disallowed. The crowd loses their mind. VAR stands for Video Assistant Referee, and it's been used in top-level soccer for several years now. But for the 2026 World Cup, FIFA is using what's called semi-automated offside technology. And the way it works is honestly a little mind-blowing. Multiple high-speed cameras in every stadium track 29 separate points on each player's body, 50 times every second. The ball itself is connected too. A sensor inside it pings 500 times a second to capture the exact instant it's kicked. And before the tournament even started, FIFA scanned all 1,248 players from every squad, turning each one into a three-dimensional avatar. Put it all together, and the system rebuilds every player in 3 dimensions at the precise moment the ball is played, then measures whether any part of them that can legally score was ahead of the last defender. And that's where the controversy comes in, because the technology is accurate enough to catch things the human eye literally cannot see. A player's armpit being 2 centimeters ahead of a defender's heel, goals getting wiped out over distances smaller than the width of your thumb. A lot of fans, and a lot of players, feel like the rule is being enforced at a level of precision that the rule was never designed for. The original intent was to stop obvious cherry-picking, not to disallow goals over fractions of an inch. But the technology exists now, so FIFA uses it. Here's the big upgrade for 2026 though. When a player is clearly offside, more than 10 centimeters, the system now fires an instant alert straight to the referee's earpiece, right there on the field, instead of waiting on a full VAR review. The old 2022 version only flagged offsides bigger than 50 centimeters, and only to the VAR booth. So the calls are tighter and they come faster. The whole thing resolves in seconds, not the dragged-out minutes of analysts drawing lines on a frozen frame. And at the 2026 World Cup, played across the United States, Canada, and Mexico, you're going to see this technology in action on the biggest stage in the world. So let's bring it all together, because you actually know this now. Offside is Law 11 of the laws of the game. A player is in an offside position if they're in the opponent's half of the field and closer to the goal than both the ball and the second-to-last defender, which is almost always the last outfield player since the goalkeeper is behind everyone. But being in that position only becomes an offense if the player gets involved in the play at the moment the ball is played by a teammate. Level with the defender means you're onside. You can't be offside in your own half, or from a throw-in, corner kick, or goal kick. The rule exists to prevent cherry-picking and keep the game tactical. And at the 2026 World Cup, semi-automated offside technology is tracking every player's body in 3 dimensions to make sure the rule is enforced to the centimeter. That's the rule, the whole rule. And the next time a goal gets chalked off and the commentator says offside, you're going to understand exactly what happened and why, while everyone around you is still groaning in confusion. If this video helped, hit click for you, drop a comment below, and tell me what part of the offside rule you always got wrong. I read every single one. And if you want to actually understand the game before the World Cup kicks off, subscribe right now because we're breaking down everything. The tournament format, the biggest players to watch, the host cities, all of it. You don't want to be the person in the room who doesn't know what's going on when the whole country is watching. Hit subscribe and go watch the next one.